At main camp, final day of main camp here for the 2019 Wilkes-Barre Stratton Knights, and I'm alongside our assistant general manager Justin Schreiber, usually out in Nebraska, only gets to come up a couple times. And Justin, we're happy to have you here, and happy to have all these kids under one roof at the same time. Over 100 players aged anywhere from 99 to 03. What's the benefit of having a camp like this?
It's nice to have guys to come in that, our recruiting and scouting budget is only so big. We can only get to so many things, so, we don't get to see every player play. And so camps like this are good for free agents that aren't protected by a North American Hockey League team that want to play in the league. They can come out and get an opportunity to play in our building and meet our staff. And it also gives us a good gauge on our draft picks, tenders, returners against some of those free agents to kind of see where everybody stands. So it's good for exposure, and it's good for our organization to kind of be able to evaluate a lot of players under our roof.
Yeah, and I think it's more of a collaborative evaluation as opposed to, like you said, you only have so much time in the budget. So talking with head coach and GM Tom Kowal earlier, he's not out there scouting. It'll be you, Mike Maltese, Andrew Whiteside, and maybe Maltese sees someone, wants to bring him into camp that you haven't seen yet. Mm-hmm. So now it gives you the opportunity and vice versa to do the same, and it's your opinion plus everybody else. How much does that collaborative effort play into this?
It's great. Just like you said, that scenario happens all the time. Mike's in Michigan, I'm in Nebraska, Whitey's out here. So sometimes Whitey will see an East Coast kid that Mike and I don't get to see, and Tom, and he'll bring him to camp, and that way, all four of us can get eyes on him, and we can make decisions that way. So it's great for that. When you really have a kid you like, but nobody else has seen him, you get to bring him in, and he can kind of prove himself to the other staff members.
Yeah, you have a variety of players here, not just in age, but we have tenders, we have some returning players, some draft picks. But I talked to Coach Whiteside and Coach Kowal. One thing they were very aligned in thought with is of the main camps they've seen thus far, they do not believe there's been a deeper free agent class than this one. Are you aligned with them?
Totally agree. I've been super impressed with the free agents we brought in. There's going to be some, with our current roster situation, there's going to be some free agents that make training camp and are going to be able to compete for a spot on the team in August. And I've been super impressed with the free agents here. I think our staff has done a really good job identifying players that maybe flew under the radar this season, that just needed an opportunity against some junior level players and under our roof and in front of our staff, and those guys have taken full advantage of it.
Now let's talk about the quantity again, because can't emphasize this enough. Over 100 players came up for this weekend alone. I know you've been with the Knights now for a couple of seasons. What's that like from your aspect as an assistant general manager, just to see that much? And does it feel like as each year goes on, there's more and more players, or the skill level is better and better?
I would say we usually keep the numbers the same. We try and give everybody an opportunity, so we try and keep it to like 5D, 9 to 10 forwards a team, because we do running clock games. So,
right.
We want to get everybody an opportunity. So numbers kind of stay the same in terms of that. We have more free agents here than we've ever had before. They, like I said, they've come out and really proved themselves. But it's just awesome to have these guys, and the skill level varies from year to year in terms of free agents and guys we have here. But like Whitey and Tom said, and in your last question, this is probably the deepest main camp in terms of free agents and non-roster invites that we've had.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some tough decisions today.
I think there's a lot, and yeah, speaking of that, so if this video goes up late, we are just a couple hours away from our final All-Star game, and that effectively concludes our main camp, and whoever is left after this is going to be coming back in about a month to start getting ready for the 60-game gauntlet that is a regular season. Everybody has an opportunity when they come here to qualify and make this team and impress you as a staff. I'm going to go out on a limb here, though, and say that if there's a need that needed to be addressed more than any other in this camp, perhaps it's the defensive end, because it looks like that's an area, and I want to say specifically the left side needs to get some fillings essentially from this camp.
Yeah, we had a good year in terms of development, where our D corps got to move on to the USHL and had some NCAA commitments, so that's definitely an area of need for us going into the summer. I think the draft picks and tenders here that we have, guys like Brian Smith and Caden Meyer come to mind, who have impressed here this week on the back end. Spencer Kring is another one who we drafted and has had a really good week here. And then there's some free agents here who've really impressed on the back end, and guys that have proved themselves in terms of earning a spot at training camp to try and make the team.
Yeah, and these guys are variety in the sense of, you just mentioned two guys who were draft picks, both defensemen, Brian Smith and Spencer Kring, very different players too, certainly different in size as well. So can you speak to that effect? We haven't had a chance to talk to you since after the draft, but you went very defense heavy to start the draft, and I think not only defense heavy, but then variety, a puck moving defenseman, a stay-at-home defenseman, a guy who can lead the breakout. How do you assemble such parity, I guess you could say, when it comes to trying to build a team like that?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to strike a balance. You can't have all small puck moving defensemen, and you can't have all big, shutdown guys. You have to kind of find that balance, and that it's an inexact science as far as building a roster. Nobody's ever figured out the perfect roster. We try and have two or three of those puck moving guys, and 3 or 4 of those shutdown D, those guys complement each other, and those types of players complement each other, and that's how we kind of try and build our back end.
Well, let's shift from our draft picks to our tenders, because we have a couple of them in town. Marcus Cook, Aaron Hamill. I'm not sure if it's either you or Maltese that found Hamill on the radar when you tendered him, because I know he was out in the Meyer hockey program. Speaking to Tom and Whitey, Andrew Whiteside, one of the critiques for Aaron was to gain a little bit more weight, put some more muscle on. Looks like he's done that.
Yep.
Marcus Cook has done pretty much everything he's been asked to since coming over from the Binghamton Junior Senators. What are you seeing in the tenders as they arrived here at main camp?
I mean, I think everybody's had a good week. You mentioned those two guys. Hamill, when he left last year, we told him, strength is an issue, needs to be a focus this summer. He came back. He's put on 11 pounds of muscle this summer, which is super exciting because he's a guy with a lot of high-end skill. Caden Meyer, who's a tender from out Winkler Flyers in the Manitoba Junior League. Yep. He's a left-handed defenseman. More of a shutdown, kind of steady Eddie type of defenseman. I think he's had a really good week as well. I have nothing bad to say about any of our draft picks or tenders. I think they've all had good weeks, and we're excited to let them come to training camp and kind of battle it out for those 23 spots on the roster.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Alex Conti, another tender who is a goaltender, and very important for the team to look at the goaltending situation because that is still up in limbo. He seems to be doing well. One thing that the Knights do, we do an orientation for every camp here, whether it's futures, pre-draft, or main, and one thing that's always brought up is the character of the players and what the Knights are looking for in character. I think a case in point to that would be John Calgian, Anthony Mastromonica, and Lincoln Hatton. They didn't have to come, but they made the choice to travel all the way back to Pennsylvania for this camp. Does that speak to the kind of players you're looking for?
Yeah, to 100%. I mean, it's awesome that those 3 guys came out. We didn't make our camp a requirement for our veteran players this year. We made it optional. Those 3 guys chose to attend. It's great to have those guys here, especially, 2 of them being 99s and Lincoln's going into his 3rd year here in the North American League. It's just really good to have some leadership for these guys coming in who maybe haven't played junior hockey, or some younger guys that don't know what to expect at a junior camp. It's great to have those guys here, and it was awesome to see Johnny and Lincoln hop on a bench this morning, All-Star game, and kind of show off their coaching prowess. But just for them to be around those young guys and kind of give them little bits of bits of advice and things like that. I think it really speaks to their character and the leadership kind of qualities that we're looking for in Knights players.
You know, we don't see you a lot here, but we know you're doing a lot of work all the time. Is this the most stressful time of the year for you?
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah. You know, we're picking.
What's more stressful, this or the draft?
You know, it's probably 50-50.
Okay.
This is probably a little bit more stressful because, you know, we're picking our team, and obviously that's pretty stressful. But, you know, it's a fun week, you know, to have, you know, this is the one week where the whole staff gets together. So,
Yep.
you know, it's fun. It's a fun week to have everybody here, and, you know, it's a lot of hockey, and, you know, but, you know, it gets kind of tense and down to the wire here on the last day when there's really tough decisions to be made.
Yeah, the All-Star game that's coming up is going to be the 14th game of the weekend in less than 72 hours. So, yes, a lot of hockey. We're going to let you get back to that. So, Justin, I really appreciate the time, and best of luck making these decisions.
Perfect. Thank you, Andrew.